Chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benny. Sells.
Hello and welcome to this week's Gull'S Eye View. Up until about 4 o'clock last Saturday, all was going well, and then unfortunately it went a bit wrong. This is football, this is Talk United, and we will dissect it. I'm joined by Clive, Chris, who is on holiday, meaning he's using a tablet that has about 3 frames per second. So for video viewers who come here for Chris, audio might be the best bet this week. It's not going to be as good as normal. And then Tom also joins us. But as Clive said, it's a bit late in the day to worry about production value, isn't it? So, but there we are. You don't come in for production value, you come in for talking United opinions, I hope, anyway. Right. We'll begin. I still don't know, all these days later, how we lost that game. I mean, I do because Chesham scored more than us, but I don't understand. It wasn't like a kind of Salisbury day where actually in the first half I thought we did everything right. Really, and I was really happy. I had memories to remember when we beat Weymouth 3-0 and that sort of weather a few years ago. I thought it was going to be one of those games, actually. We all went a bit wrong. We're going to go to the first half. Okay, we'll start. Who are we going to start with? I'll start with you, Clive. 4-4-2. I was very happy. I was very happy with how the first half went. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it? It's not really formations, it's players and performances, isn't it? Quite honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were fine. Paul Watton in his presser this afternoon, I think, said they were in cruise control first half, and I'd probably agree with that. I don't think we saw very much from Chesham. And I suspect Jordan Dyer might have been robbed of a goal. He certainly, it was his header that was the catalyst, wasn't it? Whether Cody Cook or anybody else got a valuable touch on it, I don't know. I've watched the highlights as well. It was quite odd, wasn't it? They took about 3 minutes to give anything out over the tannoy. I think they were guessing when they said Cody Cook, quite honestly. But who cares? It was a good header, but it turns out being a scrappy goal. And yeah, lovely. All in the garden is beautiful. We're winning 1-0. Chesham, nothing to play for. We're going to tan them second half, clearly.
Yeah, and the sun was out. It was lovely to see such a range of faces at Torquay as well, like families and the whole town sort of had a bit of a buzz when I was sort of driving into Torquay. I know it sounds stupid because you're going to a football game, but you didn't have it the last few years. It was yellow everywhere. It was just a buzz. The sun was out. Torquay were playing well. God, it was all brilliant. Interesting enough, though, isn't it? How our goal, I don't care how our goal's going, and I love get it in the mixer as I've been known for now. Um, Still, for me, their keeper looked quite nervous and just put it in the pop side a lot of the time. And it's been a thing of the season where I want to see us believe a bit more in open play. Just not overthink things at times. I know it sounds like any football, you go, oh, shoot, and on like the halfway line. I'm not saying that, but just there's a few times in a match J cut inside and just shoot, you're good enough. And there's a few, I just want us to be sort of harass the keepers a bit more like that. I think there was one shot, he spilled it, and I wanted us to be right on him, just like that. Just at times, work the keepers a bit more, get that and the scrappy goals. We lack a bit of an edge, don't we, Tom, at times?
Yeah, we do. It's frustrating, isn't it? We've come really good in the last month or so, scrapping these 1-0 victories. But as it turns out, and if you score one goal, that often isn't enough to win football matches all the time. And I think Chesham played their game plan to an absolute T. I think it was fairly obvious. I mean, I was listening to it on the radio, so listening to Chesham native Harry Salvage and the great insight of Dave Thomas, great commentary duo. Yeah, it was a frustrating afternoon, and we just fell into the hands of Chesham and their game plan. Yeah, we had good chances in the first half. Didn't take, we took one, a scrappy one that probably won't make goal of the month. Although, if Cody Cook's effort against Bath is in the goal of the month, then we're in trouble there. But yeah, it's one of those. You look at it. I think Chesham had a very, very outside chance of being relegated, so that win's kept them safe now. But they were safe regardless anyway.
Yeah, done
But
worse.
from minute blooming one, it was just a frustrating listen, and you could hear the boos early on, and ultimately their game plan worked perfectly because they took advantage of us not being clinical again in front of goal. I know a lot of people are blaming the officials, but we have to rise above it. How many times have we said it this season? We have to rise above it. I mean, we're towards the end of the season now, and it's 3 points dropped at this stage of the season. We can't afford another slip up if we have realistic ambitions of winning this division now. When the news came out, it was 2 up top. I was delighted. Something I've been hoping for a while, and didn't really work. I don't know if that's just an off day for us in general across the pitch. A lot of 5 and 6 out of 10s in Ben's review on the verdict last week. It's one of those results you look back on and think, is that potentially the result that has denied us the opportunity of properly winning this division? Because, with 4 games left, 12 points to play, I feel like we've got to go and win all 4 now if we've got a chance of going up automatically. It does feel like to me that we are now relying on finishing 2nd or 3rd with that result. But as this division has proved, and a lot, over the last week or so in many football divisions, you can have a bad result one day, a couple of days later, everything changes. So that would be my feedback on that.
Nice one. Thank you, Tom. Now, Chris, I'm going to take you into, Tom mentioned it a little bit. It's one of those things in football, when your team does it, it's hilarious because we did it a few years ago. Covelin having an injury in the 74th minute, Sean McDonald maybe, and also remember we went to Notts County with 10 men and 4 players down with cramp. We were like, oh, it's hilarious. But when it happens to you, oh my God, it's annoying. Do you call it dark arts? Is it tactics, or is it just simply the ref? The 94th minute yellow card takes the mick, doesn't it? Just the ref, who had a good game apart from that, I thought has to stamp it out from minute 1, and he didn't. And I was like, you can only see where this is going to go. What are your opinions, Chris?
Yeah, I think there are dark arts, and then I had a conversation stroke exchange with somebody who I think was their media guy after the game, and he was trying to say, oh, there's lots of different ways to win a football match, and that's true. There are. You can win. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of time wasting things which have gone on since time began. But I think that went beyond it. I think the bit that disappointed me, and the point I was making to this guy, is that, I don't take my children to go and watch football matches to watch that. Yes, there are ways to win games. Yes, there's time wasting. Yes, there's that ridiculous going from one side to the other for a goal kick. Yes, there's the line on the ball for 10 seconds, then holding it for 10 seconds, all that. Everyone does that when they're winning, and I've got no issue with that because that is the dark art stuff. But this just went beyond it because it was coached. It was systematic. It was planned. The throw-ins, they'd pick up the ball, someone would pick it up and then drop it, and then somebody else would then take another 10 seconds to go and get it. So I think it's just the frustration of it is the fact that it is coached and it's part of what they came to do. You can come and be obdurate and be frustrating, and I think that's where it went beyond it. And I saw Clive after the game, and we said afterwards, if everyone does that, football will die. People won't go and watch that. People won't pay money to watch that because it's you could argue it worked because they won 2-1, but I don't think what they did or didn't do won them the game. I think it was just and I think the frustration at the referee. I think the odd thing was I think referees at this level have been poor, but I think this referee's decision making I didn't really have an issue with. I thought his decision, some ridiculously obvious fouls haven't been given. Some really weak ones have been given against us across the season, but I didn't really think there was any of that on Saturday. I think as a general kind of match official, he was quite good. But it was just the fact that, and I think the frustration when you watch it is that it's not hard to sort out because you must have known what was going on because the atmosphere was straight away, the fans were onto it in the first 6 or 8 minutes, but all you got to do is book somebody the first 15 minutes and it's going to stop, or they're going to keep doing it and you're just going to pile up the bookings. The fact that it wasn't dealt with early enough, and as you said, the 94th minute booking was kind of the icing on the cake. But again, it wasn't why we lost the game. It's worth pointing out. It wasn't like some of them, like the St Albans game at home when that ridiculous penalty wasn't given. I would solely blame that at the referee because you have to make the right decision at the right moment. And I don't think it was because of that. But I think the whole way that they behaved, the whole behaviour of the bench, the whole behaviour of their entire coaching staff and players was just. It's just sad. It's disappointing because, as I say, people don't go to watch that. I don't think
there is a line between dark arts and nous and cheating, and that's what they were doing. They were doing it all afternoon, and we told them so from Bristow's, and they turn round and they give us a load of stick back, which is absolutely fine. The old boy gives it the old Galatasaray swipe as well. Well done, mate. Classy. Something does need to happen to try and stop this because it's just too easy for players to go down with cramp, isn't it? And I'm not in any way trying to say that we don't do it or we wouldn't do it. It's a nod and a wink, isn't it? Oh yeah, we don't mind it when we do it. Well, I bloody mind it because it ruined the game on Saturday. And as everybody else has said, the referee could have done something about it. To wait until the 7th minute of injury time in the second half was just taking the mickey. That was the only action he took, was to book the keeper when they'd won the game and they'd ruined the spectacle. I've put it on record on TORQUAYTALK. I've called it cheating. And Devon Live have gone almost as far as that as well. And it's not good enough, and we shouldn't have to put up with it.
No, I think I'd add on that as well. I think that the thing that annoys me, and it's completely forgotten, and my dad and I were sitting debating it as the game was going on, is that there's the 6-second rule that has just been completely forgotten. Which and I get it, and I've had this conversation with my sister, who's referee, and she says people don't want to give that because it's organised and it's chaos, and I absolutely get that, but it's a rule, and you can't just ignore. Well, exactly. And that's the point, exactly. So actually, and several, it wasn't just on Saturday, several times you've seen it where goalkeepers had the ball and obviously more than 6 seconds, and the referee is giving him the arm to say, come on, play it. And I'm starting thinking, there's literally a rule to stop them doing that. And I get people don't want to give it, and I get, and then the new rule from next season will hopefully kind of snuff out some of that stuff. But there's literally a rule.
You don't. Sorry, Chris, but you don't need a new rule, do you? You don't need this performance.
Just implement the one that's there.
We're going to have referees going 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm going to give a corner for about the first 3 weeks of the season before they forget about that bloody rule as well. Yeah, it's nonsense. There is a 6-second rule. If you want goalkeepers to get on with the game, just enforce it. Just do your job.
That's the part that's the most infuriating. I'm starting thinking there's literally a rule, and you're just waving your arm at him to tell him to hurry up. So that means he's had it too long. That means that what he's doing is now beyond what is acceptable. But yet the rule that there is there, you're not prepared to enforce, which kind of begs the question, why is it there? So yeah, and I think that was the thing.
Yeah, it's fair enough, really. I mean, let's not take it away. Cheshire done brilliantly this season, and their 2 goals. I mean, it did look dangerous going forward. We were a bit open on that right-hand side. Clive, the goals, very disappointing goals. Any goals disappointing to concede, but they're just quite simple and frustrating. Caught cold, would you say? How would you describe the 2 goals we conceded?
Well, the first one's got to be down to the keeper, hasn't it? He might have been slightly unsighted, but the ball was going at a snail's pace. If he'd been stood on the goal line as a centre half, he might have been able to take 2 steps to his left and kick it away. He doesn't react to it, and that's got him right. That's got him right back into the game. Second one, same guy, left back. Fair play to him. It might be his only 2 goals of the season. He'll probably have pictures of it on his mantelpiece. He hit it a bit better. It was a bit more in the corner. Was it savable? I don't know. I'm not sure, but they are 2 desperately disappointing goals, really. I thought the ref actually played quite a good advantage for their second because Jenkins-Davis lost it in midfield. Yeah. They broke quickly. Fair play to them.
I think one thing I will say, actually, because I know the goals were disappointing. It's a very good instinctive goalkeeper, but just at times gets caught out by these long distance. It's frustrating. I don't think it's... I understand the first goal because I think he's expecting to touch, but the second goal, I just think it's got his position all wrong. It's very Halstead, isn't it? If you pause it, I think he'll look back and I am quite positioned right. Small margins. And he just hadn't really given himself a chance. So
I don't know enough about goalkeeping, be critical, but other than have an opinion from watching it, the first goal I was amazed went in because I could tell he had hit it very well.
Yeah,
and he went through some legs, which would have reduced his visibility still more. And by the time you've reacted, it was probably past him. The second goal again, this is just having watched it back, it's hard to change your opinion or think it. But at the time, I just thought, yeah, he struck it, but it didn't go right in the corner, I don't think, did it? So, and again, we've conceded a lot of goals from outside the box. That's just a fact. It's not having a go. It's just it's fact.
It's happened for a few years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean that the defenders don't get out? I mean, both those goals were on the counter, weren't they? So it's a bit different to some of the goals early in the season where we were stepping off, and then people were having a shot. So it's just a fact we have conceded a lot of goals from outside the box. Why that is, who knows? Can I just add, whilst I've got the one, can I just add one thing on the formation that you were discussing? I mean, I don't really care about the formation, because there's quite a lot of pundits that say it's not about formation, it's about players. And Clive just kind of said it there from what's on there. I think the concern with the formation, I mean, it was good to see a couple of centre forwards up front, and and Cookie and Zanzala up there. But the problem we had in that formation is it's almost like, right, we're going to play 4-4-2. Right, who are we going to put there? Not I've got the players because I want to play 4-4-2. Because you saw with the first goal, and I'm not, Jordan Young's brilliant, and I think it's the system and the sort of player he is. That's the issue, because you've got Young and Jay, who are ostensibly forwards playing as wingers. And Young is not going to think, oh, crikey, there's danger here, and peg it back 50 yards, because he's not a winger. He's not a defensively minded player. So playing him on the right side of a 4 in midfield, he has to be able to do that. So I think it's almost the players you've got can drive the formation that you play. But with Jay and Young as wingers, it felt a bit like, right, we want to play as many attackers as we can, because we know we've got to win the game. So that's how we're going to go about doing it. So it's kind of like 4-2-4 when we were attacking. But it wasn't 4-4-2 when the ball turned over, because the two wingers didn't really track. So I don't really care about the formation, because it's about the way the players play within it for me.
I'm totally with you. I liked the kind of like directness. I liked, especially for like the first half an hour, I really liked that. I thought it suited us. But as you say, if you have two up front, I'd like to see, I know Zanzala's good, but I like to see Jay almost up front, big man, little man kind of thing, if you're going to do that. I think Jay just has this sort of inside forward. It just didn't quite work. I don't feel we got the best out of Jay. Young, it really does. Of course it does. But I don't quite think it's, as you say, I think maybe like the 4-3-3 for me this season has been my favourite formation, with like Jay and Young off Cook. And then you've got 3 in midfield. Because I think the 2 central midfielders, they I don't know, they weren't quite enough in the midfield to grant a 4-4-2. If you're doing a 4-4-2, you've got to make sure your 2 in midfield are really, really winning everything.
And that's the problem. Threlkeld and Hayfield are good centre midfield players. I thought they both did okay, but they're not bang, bash, have some of that I'm going to win the ball and take everyone with me players, which you kind of need in there, and neither of them are.
Yeah. I think for me, we're going to lead into Kelly's corner, actually. For me, if you had to say to me, Mr. I play Football Manager over here, 4-3-3. I really got sacked. It didn't go well. Not by talking. That's another story. 4-3-3. I like to see. I like to see sort of Threlkeld sort of in front of the defence, tidying up. Hayfield sort of box to box running it, and then Jenkins Davies bringing all the energy and a bit more of the creativity. I think that's the best way you win that. And then you have Young, Jay, and then Cook, and then you've got. The only problem is you've got 2 great strikers that could be a little bit wasted on the bench then, who I think are 2 very good strikers in this division in some way. But I just think that's the best way forwards.
Absolutely. And actually, Sam, if you look at our 2 kind of strongest phases of the season, that was what we played. That phase around Christmas where we went 14 games unbeaten, and then the recent kind of 5 in 6. We've kind of gone back to that with Hassani in the side. They're kind of Hassani's 2.
Great option as well. Yeah.
But now we're at a stage where Hassani's not even on the bench because of the way. So it's just how you do it, isn't it? And that's the beauty of the opinion as to what works, isn't it? Ultimately, there's one person who's going to have worked on, they're going to go with the same again and try and make it work, or they're going to say, actually, right, we need to change it, which is what they've been working on all week, I guess.
And the team doesn't have like a natural out-and-out left winger. Like the only person actually for me that could be a slight option, if you have obviously Folson in left back and even Carson in left mid, if you were to play similar, because he's really good going forwards and he's got a great left foot on him. He's the only kind of out-and-out. Like I'm not saying Jay can't play on the left, because in the 4-3-3 I like him, but it's different playing kind of 4-4-2 left-hand side to sort of when he's a bit more attacking.
And we can't really use the excuse of injuries now, can we? I mean, pretty much everyone is fit bar a couple. So it's not like we've got options. And it's interesting to me that, Carson, since he's been on Northern Ireland duty, he's come back. He hasn't featured. You think he'd be an option on the bench, perhaps? I don't know. But if I can quickly rewind back to the dark arts, it's all well and good, saying the referee needs to get a grip on it. But we were 1-0 up in that game at halftime. Yeah. We've allowed them back into it. So as far as I'm concerned, we've only got ourselves to blame. Surely the team talk would have been, what they've been trying to do all game. You've got the lead. Don't give them a route back into the game and don't allow them to put these tactics back on. And we did. And that's what's really frustrating. Like I expect a bit better now, especially at this end of the season. Again, we've done so well to put ourselves back into title contention. And now it's looking, if we win the last 4, 89 points, possibly might be enough. I personally think it won't be, but I think if you win the last 4, I think you can kind of say that should be a home playoff. But I mean, this division is so tight. It's moments and results. And, I said a few weeks ago, all these sides are going to have one or two bad results going into the final 6-7 games. So this has to be our one. We have to be perfect from now on in.
And we're most likely going to have to be Churro's bad result as well for the way they're.
We're going to have to beat Truro. We're going to have to beat everyone. We're going to have to beat everyone in the last four. I know Slough are very, well-run team, another well-run team at this level, good manager, but they'll play the same. They'll look to frustrate and they'll sit back. So I hope we learn lessons, because that's, I think, the one thing we haven't done particularly well this season, if I'm being critical. But we need to see an improvement on Saturday, and we've just got it's a bad result. Put it in the past.
Put it in the past. Go forwards.
4 games left, 12 points on the board. Let's get it. Yeah. Teams have still got to play each other. I mean, that Worthing Dorking game could be massive. That could show where the title's going.
I'll say one other positive, actually. Yellow Armour, I thought they're brilliant, really getting behind the team in the second half. I mean, Paul Watson was right. That first goal, it just took the wind out of everything, didn't it? I felt like I've been punched in the stomach a bit, really. I left a lot of my frustration in that game. It just really built during the game. But I thought the Yellow Army was brilliant, really getting behind. And it's just one of those horrible, horrible days, wasn't it? But that's football. That is football.
I read it somewhere, and I think it might have been Paul Mulhern, or I might be giving him too much credit here. But somewhere I read online somewhere, somebody said that Truro was a must not lose game, and that results made it a must win game.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably about right where we are with after Saturday's result with 4 games to go. That actually, if we drop any more points that aren't victories, then the chances of everyone else doing the same are probably. And of course, things are Truro are top at the minute, and we know we can overtake them because our goal difference is better than theirs. So we know if we beat them, the side at the top, if we win our last 4, we know we're going to finish above the side that currently top, which is another key thing. But you got to win those 4 games. Obviously, go to Truro and winning next Friday is not going to be easy.
Believe. Right, Kelly's corner.
Right, into the corner. So thank you everyone who wrote in again this week. Well on Chris in my absence last week. Did a great job. So for this Saturday, we simply ask you, what team changes would you make to the side on Saturday, if there are any, and why? So we'll start with the ones on Facebook. And we start tonight with Ian Tyson, who says, I'd go 2 up top, 3 at the back, 5 across the middle with MJ behind the front 2. Might get us more on the front foot and take the game to Slough. There's Dave Morris, who says team changes should be to go back to the team shape that was unbeaten, with either Cody or Ozzy on the bench to be brought on later. Jay to start with Manny, who should come on later. Despite the moans of those that want more exciting football from Paul, I'll just take 3 points and boring games.
Yeah, for what you wish.
And comment of the corner is from Celia Hayward in regards to us recording tonight. One word, great. And there is Nick Ponkins, who quickly writes in as well and says, in my view, 2 strikers simply doesn't work. I would prefer a target man with Matt J and Jordan Young playing off and around him. We need to win the midfield battle first, unlike we did last week.
Yes.
Then on to X, we go with our leader, Dom Roman, who says, Zanzala back on the bench for me. Jay in the middle behind Cook. He can make more of a difference in there. Hassani in for Freckeld to give us something different in midfield. Like to see Ashia get some minutes as well. We've got Alan Wills, who says, I would go back to 4-2-3-1 with Krask, Dyer, Dreyer and Falston at the back. Freckeld, Hayfield, Jay, Denkins, Davis, Young and Cook. He'd also put Carson on the bench, as he's had a lot of assists for us this season. Paul Mulhern says it has to be a 4-2-3-1. Slough tend to play a 10 away from home, so Freckeld starts for him. Jay as our number 10, but as always, the problem is who is left out of the 3. Probably Elisami, but he was terrible last week. Cook deserves a start, and hopefully no cheating on display.
Elisami was terrible. He did a break.
Come on, Paul.
But he missed that free header, didn't he?
Oh, come on. He showed him a clean pair of heels a couple of times. He didn't have the best game in the world, but I think terrible.
You can show he's got talent. You can see he's got talent.
Yeah, I agree. I was ready then as well, Clive. That's a bit harsh. Yeah, I thought he's a young kid who came on and worked hard, I thought.
It's scored.
Yeah, this is what Kelly's Corner is all about. Good debate. Rachel writes in and says that she would change that bloody 3rd goal in injury time. Wouldn't we all? Ollie Ray says if Freckeld is still playing on Saturday, then it blows his mind. I'd have Hayfield play there and put Ashaya in. I'd also start Cook on his own rather than having Zanzala there, so I'd have Hassani in for Zanzala. George says Cook up front alone, Will Jenkins-Davis and Hassani in, and Freckeld and Zanzala out. Max Cochran says I would like to see Ashia have a chance. Might also have Matt J on the bench. Been a bit disappointed with his performances recently. And finally, there's Josh Coles, who says having Hassani's energy, if fit, needs to be around the team. If Zanzala is fit enough for 90, I keep him on, as last week we looked worse when he came off. Did much more than anyone else holding the ball up, playing it off, just needs others to do more with his flick-ons. We're too late in the season to change it, but we're really missing a proper centre midfielder that takes hold of the game. Also think our attacking pattern or lack of is the other main issue. Have loads of quality up there, but haven't seen the best of them all season, unfortunately. Thank you, everyone. Plenty of debate and controversy in a few bits there, but like we said, we always appreciate the input from you.
Debate.
I've read a lot of chat about Cameron Ashia, who signed from Huddersfield. A lot of chat, we should be given an opportunity. Why have we signed if we're not going to use him? The reality is we've signed a kid out of 23s football from a team 320 miles away. So I don't think they've signed him to make a massive difference now, but you have to have numbers, because if Hayfield and Threlkeld both get injured and then you've got a playoff game to come, I don't believe he's come to, and I think Paul said last week in the presser that he's come as, to witness, to be part of the atmosphere, the environment of a team that's doing well, potentially a playoff campaign. I don't think he's there to, same as the keeper. I don't think they're there to be playing, but they're there if you need them as registered players, because you don't have a choice anymore after that. So yeah, I saw a lot of chat about that last weekend, but unless he's been very good, it's like Paul said last week, if he's good in training and he warrants it, then he may well be.
Grass is always greener, isn't it? I mean, nobody knows if this lad's any good, but he is young, he is inexperienced. What we've been told is that he's here to, be around a men's squad, really, more than anything else. People thinking that a lad like that's going to be the answer to all our prayers is a little bit unlikely, I think.
Can I ask about Zanzala real quick? Sorry, guys. Is he still carrying a knock, do we think?
Don't think so. It wasn't obvious. It's not been obvious the last couple of games, I don't think, no. And he said he didn't limp off. I think he was just a straight swap, because getting involved in the game was difficult. He was being tugged around more than Cook was in that game. So I think it was just a straight swap to get Ilasami on a bit quicker, a bit of freshness, but not that was obvious. He had a knee bandage on a couple of weeks ago, which he hasn't had, I don't think, the last couple of games. He looked fitter now in terms of being able to play 90 as he was on one leg for a couple of weeks, wasn't he?
I think it was really interesting. The last person you brought up on Kay's Corner was that just that midfield, you met Asa Hall like in his day, just really will pop up out of midfield with those moments, will really sort of lead the way, and just really, we just kind of missed that a little bit. I think we've got good midfielders, but just that one who's really going to make that big difference, and they're hard to find. I think it was Loft, and we've lost a bit. And I think, it is the attacking movements at times, as brilliant and solid as we've been, and that you have to get that right first. And that's where we've gone wrong quite the last few years of Torquay United. But just sometimes with the talent we've got, I still want to see a bit more kind of attacking relief and patterns and all that. Wales Walkway for play more on Saturday, and you think, right, they've just been more clinical in front of goal than us. And no disrespect to Cheshire, but I look at the talent we've got, and I'm like, it's not acceptable, I'm afraid. We should be the ones who in a tight game are sort of coming out like that. So with more goals. And I just want to see more belief. I still want to see more belief in the final third and sort of freedom and just hit some shots, honestly. It was better, especially in the first half. I was really happy with kind of getting the ball in the box. It just didn't quite fall. But I think cool heads
need to prevail.
That's why we've come unstuck a bit this season. We can still go up. I do not care, honestly. And I am personally quite secretly confident about playoffs, because I think Paul Watton's really, really smart in those sort of games. Not saying he is in other games, but I just think we haven't just been brave and scored enough maybe to win a title. I think when we're not going to say much now, because there's still 12 points to play for. We've still done brilliantly. I'm still really happy with this season, but I think at the end of the season, if we don't get over the line, I think that's where it will come from for next. But I don't care. There's no point losing all of our heads, and more to the players' point, losing their heads over last week. 12 points to play for, possibly playoffs. No one will remember this game if we go up. Exactly. So
Exactly.
That's
Just
all
what I was
we
about to
care
say.
about.
Cool heads need to prevail. It was disappointing last week. It's gone. We've had a great run of form. What was that? Our first defeat in 9 games. Um, Maybe because I wasn't there last week. Maybe I'm not so much emotionally invested
Yeah,
in
no, I
it
get
as
you.
others. But I think, again, 12 months ago, we were battling to stay up in this division.
Yeah.
And the work that's done just to be even now, in my opinion, to be in a title fight so late on into the season, I think it's testament to the hard
Yeah,
work. And
I agree.
for me, I think even if we do, if we don't go up this season, then you know what? As long as we're in the playoffs, I think that's been my remit all along. Finish in the playoffs. Let's have a go.
Next
It's a
season.
lottery.
Yeah.
You never know. And
We've
if
had
we
good
do it,
memories as
great.
well. So
If
good
not,
fun.
but let's because I read some stuff on social media, heat at the moment and all that, and everyone's fully entitled to their opinion. But
Definitely.
what all this thing about what and out and all this, or like, come on, like he's had the work
Good
this
job,
football
man.
club and that's gone under in the last year is nothing short of spectacular, and to be in this position, I think is blooming amazing. So.
Yeah.
Cool heads, everyone. I mean, we did a poll a couple of days ago about where, with 4 games left, where do we think that we'll finish? 179 people voted, and 45% reckon we're going to finish second or third. So,
Yeah.
I think if we finish in those two, that's a great achievement.
We're still doing great. Everyone's doing great. Don't beat yourselves up too much. But
And I think as well, I was thinking if it is the playoffs, I think what will be interesting is if we think everybody's come to our ground to frustrate, waste time, do things as slowly as possible, and it'll be interesting actually because to have those playoff games, everyone's turned up because they've got to win a football match.
yeah.
So it'll be an interesting difference as to how we can. So I think that could play into our hands because it'll be a much more open game. Because let's be honest, your Worthings, your Dorkings, your Farnboroughs, your Boreham Woods, all your Eastbournes, all those sides have come to play more for a point. Well, no one will be doing that in playoffs. No good to anyone.
No.
Whether some might set penalties or whatever, who knows? So it'll be an interesting, different game because sides are going to have to come and go at each other in a one-off game because the winner takes all and the loser doesn't. So that'll be an interesting side to it. I'd also add, after losing on Saturday and Western beating Maidstone, we probably need 3 more points to be absolutely sure of playoff.
that's
Very
quite
negative,
right,
but if you look at it, what is it now? 5 points. So we don't want to go falling off a cliff, losing the next, maybe 2 more games because we could have a problem then. So that's another key thing. Make sure that as an absolute minimum we get in those playoffs, but we all want to finish first, second, or third, of course.
Yeah. I've got the fixtures in front of me here for the weekend before we go into predictions. Bath are at home to Dorking. Dorking, I think I've got a good record.
Not easy,
at Bath, but not
easy though, is it? The way Bath are at the minute, 5-0 win last week.
Yeah, Boreham Wood at home to Hemel Hempstead. Again, Hemel Hempstead are a funny team. Although I think you would expect Boreham Wood to win that. Hornchurch at home to Truro. Hornchurch have already proven that they've beaten several in the us included. Beat Worthing a few weeks ago. That's going to be difficult. Maidstone have Weymouth. You'd think that'd be quite routine for Maidstone. Eastbourne go to St Albans, who are fighting like mad to stay up in this division. Worthing are at home to Chippenham. You would think that's 3 points in the bag for Worthing, but again, Chippenham have proven on their day they can pull a surprise or two, and Western are playing at home to Tunbridge. So 3 points is pretty vital, I'd say, this weekend with those fixtures, because I think next week quite a few of them are playing each other, us playing Truro included. So it's got to be 3 points on the weekend.
I agree. Take us into predictions then. I'm going 2-1 Torquay. Tom?
2-0 Torquay.
Nice. Clive?
Yeah, 2-0. Why not?
Cool. Chris?
Don't say
I was going to say 2-0, so I'm not going to say 2-0 because that won't get many points. And I need points to get top of the predictions league at this point. I can't, with the way Slough play, I can't see it being an open game. I went for 2-0 last weekend, so I'm going to go for 1-0 this weekend. It's going to be another tight game. I can't see it being anything other than that. We're not the sort of team who's going to, we haven't been the sort of team who's been 1-0 up at half time and you think, right, get the second, get the third. That's kind of not how it's been. It's how we need to be at times. But I think it'll be another tight game. And I think if we can get another 3 points, 1-0, we'll be happy with that. So we'll go 1-0.
One more prediction for you. It was confirmed this afternoon that our loan players, if necessary, are going to be available for the playoffs. So it's Brad Ash to get the winner in the final, I reckon.
I'd love that.
I love it.
Well, he was at the open training session because he still trains with us, doesn't he? So it was noted that he was at that. So you can see it, can't you? 97th minute of the final, toe poke back post, lovely.
He's good at them. He is good at them. He is instinctive like that. Sometimes, but when he has less time to think, he's brilliant. That was always my thing with Brad Ash. But there we are. But he's the money. He's, coming back in form and confidence. I think it's going to be Musa who's going to win it personally, last minute. I think he's odds to do it personally. But and it'll be absolute scenes. So there we go. Imagine that, Brad Ash and Musa. Oh, what a story. But there we are. Thank you for watching and listening this week. Difficult week, wasn't it? But thanks for everyone's opinions. Everyone's opinions are always welcome.
Wear something yellow Saturday.
But there
Get that tiger face. Come on.
700 subscribers and Chris will get his face painted. There you go.
1,000, I will. There we go. So we can monetize then. So if you watch this video and haven't subscribed, come on, we need to get our £5 a week sorted for face paint. There we go. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.